This is the True Detective Podcast by BleedTV, covering Season 3, and this is Episode 7. What is this, the Final Country or something?
Final Country.
And the director was?
Sackheim.
Classic Sackheim.
Classic. Very classic. Guys, I'm depressed. This is Episode 7, which means we only have one more left. I'm at a loss right now.
Yeah, one left, and 98% of the mystery is over.
I don't know. I wouldn't go 98.
I mean, I would say it's mostly been solved and everything. It's just how we're going to get there.
I mean, I'd say 98% of the mystery is solved, but there's still a couple of things that we want to know what happened the day it happened.
Yeah, there's some big not plot gaps, but there's big gaps in the full story. But some of them are pretty significant. That I'm excited about speculating.
Yeah, what happened and why did it happen?
Yeah, exactly. And where's Julie? No doubt. But overall, man, I really enjoyed this episode. Like, I love the tidbits they gave us this one. Which some of them were pretty big, but
it's hard to classify as anything besides just a really great hour of television.
I'm to the point now where I couldn't say this one's better than this one, that one's better than this one. A few episods ago was the best of all.
Yeah, because it just had so much monumental information that it ended up giving us.
And of course, the acting job at the end was Dorf and Ali. Oh.
I mean, just the film work, too, on it.
Yeah. But I will say this episode had some new things that really stuck out to me, like some of the music, some of the score like that were really spot on this one.
Time transitions were great.
Yeah. And a new time. We have a new time.
We do have a new time.
We got away from 3, now we're on number 4. So I thought that was pretty cool. That was the first thing in my notes was the new time era. It was nice to see that we get to see Rebecca as a college student. So we do know she actually did go to college.
Yep.
So she did. She is alive. We had some hypotheses under her.
Well, she's alive in this new time era.
Exactly. What we know this is between. Okay, in 90, she's 6, 7, 8 years old.
No older than 10.
She's definitely in the single digits.
Yeah, single digits. And then
so
this timeline shows her going to college.
So 2000s.
So let's just hypothetically say she's 6 years old. Okay. So if she's 6 and she's going to college, that means she's 18, 19 years old. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's 13 years later. So we're talking 2003.
Well, I mean, we don't know when the 90s is, do we? Oh, yeah, are we giving a definitive year in the 90s? Or
when we see her and we're judging her age, like the year that she missed at Walmart, the year like that, that's 90. So if we're saying she's 6 or 7 years old, if we do the math correctly, that means that she's him taking her to college is around 2003, 2005.
Like a secure 90s timeline. So, yeah,
based on age.
But I'm going to go ahead and say she's older than 90 then. Because the age difference from him dropping her at college, picking up something heavy.
Yeah.
He has gray in his hair, but he still looks formidable. You're talking about 12 years he looks like he does now in 2015? No way.
Right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say she's 9, 10 years old. And now we're talking 6 years.
Okay.
We're talking 97 instead of 2003.
Well, even if she's 9, it's still 9 years more.
Yeah, I mean, that's
so it's 1999. That means she graduates. That means that she's my age because I graduated high school in 1999.
Yeah, I'm just saying, whatever. Maybe the makeup guys did a little
too
good a job.
Too. I'll make it this. That pickup truck he was driving was a Ford F-150 extended cab, and that was the years that they made that really, mooned off really rounded front end. And my buddy Hayden drove the exact same truck.
Which was like 97.
And I think it came out like 96, 97 model. And it was good until about 02, 03.
Something like that.
Where they started going back to the old boxes. You know what I mean? And so the truck gives you a good clue. That's right around 99, 2000 era, give or take. So we're talking about that 2 or 3 year window.
Okay.
So that's our new timeline.
Right. And I could see 15 years from the year 2000 him looking.
Yes, because he had just a few gray hair showing up.
You know what I mean?
Now we're at that point. I'm with you on that. So that's good. So like I said, it was good to see that. I think that there's significance there. I think the next episode is going to show us why.
It has to. It's the last episode. So
if there's there's something
there's a reason they're showing us that year timeline.
Well, yeah.
There's a reason. So we didn't get that. We didn't get it this episode. I think next episode we are, which there was a thing in the preview, which we'll talk about at the very end. Maybe I'll help with that. The next big thing in the episode, though, was talking about, of course, as we predicted. I said Tom was going to have an accident. He's going to shoot himself. And, of course, he's on that big watchtower. And self-inflicted gunshot didn't look too good.
Yeah, I love, blood pooling at the bottom.
Yes.
The drip, still dripping and everything.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Just
I love that Roland was up there, sitting there, clearly distraught, I don't know, man. I feel bad for Tom, obviously. I mean, it's just
I don't think I hated
shat
this.
roll of the dice.
We didn't get a Tom amazing episode, amazing scene of him acting. You know what I mean? We only had that one little bit.
I mean, what more could he have done, though? I mean...
Doesn't matter. I mean, whatever the guy was touching, he was gold. You know what I mean?
I mean, where do you... Let's just talk about, if we're talking Emmys at some point, right? Who gets Best Supporting Actor in this show?
Really?
Between Roland and Tom.
Can Roland be considered a supporting
actor? Amelia, I guess, would be Best Supporting Actress. So
I don't know, but Roland, technically Roland would be supporting because he's not the primary character. He is a co-character.
We've got to change these rules because, he's right up there.
I think he's co-lead as well, but...
Yeah, I understand only one
just
person.
by the rules of it, I'd say he would have to be, co-star. So
I think it's Roland. Like, sorry, Tom. You just don't get enough screen time.
I agree, but, man, think about some Tom moments.
Oh.
Dude has crushed it.
Yes, there's no doubt. No doubt. Of course, Dorf has too. Yeah. I'm not going to take credit from Dorf. The guy.
I would say Tom's main problem for it is just like he's hit the same note perfectly, but he hasn't shown nearly as much variety.
Let's talk about this crime scene. One thing that stuck out to me, which I'm happy that you see Hays say this is crap. Who types a letter, 3 lines, like that or so on. But something else that bothered me is that letter was perfectly
It wasn't crumpled.
No crumpled, no folds. I mean, if you were going up there, you're carrying it in your pocket. It's not like you carry the sheet of paper with you the whole way up there.
Maybe if you
know what I'm saying?
Even if you are carrying it, you've got your fingers dug into it or something.
Yeah, I mean, it would... Tom doesn't seem like the guy who would keep that piece of paper in pristine condition on the way up there, lay it down as he blows his head off.
And then get the gun to land perfectly on it with your hand backwards.
It just like some of it... But then again, I think that's to show on purpose, to really kind of ham-fisted a little bit. Hey, reminder, this is fake.
Definitely. I mean, why wouldn't he go all the way to the top? Why did he stop 3/4 of the way up?
Exactly.
Because a dead body is really heavy. Or an unconscious body is very heavy.
Absolutely. Right. But I mean,
exactly.
If you were committing suicide, you'd go to the top.
Right.
Yeah, I think you would.
I mean, I think you would go to the top that way when you shot yourself. You have a chance to fall off and your body just kind of...
Make sure you're done.
Absolutely. A little 2 for 1.
Yeah. Oh, and plus you could also say that if you were going to commit suicide based on the situation, would you do it where your son died?
Well, they're trying to make it look like he's the fall guy.
Yeah. Even still, though,
after the tape is played, they're going to pin it on him anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's like
it's a nice, neat package.
Nice package, yeah.
So that was tough with Tom. Of course, shortly thereafter, you see they cut back to where you see Tom packing his car and leaving the house, and Roland in the flashiest jacket.
Well,
I've
hold
ever seen
on.
in my life,
Before we talk
rolls
about
up
this
jacket,
in it. I mean, we've talked to Kelly, and there's been a lot of
That's
circulating
right.
going on.
That's right. We got at least 10 emails, several posts on social media, and the theory is
that Roland is gay, but Roland and Tom have been having a little bounce chicka wah.
There is a connection. I called BS.
I haven't been on this wagon at all.
I'm sorry. I told everybody, it's like, it's possible, but no.
So I support the evidence you're throwing at me and everything, but I'm just not digging into this. Roland, he just doesn't strike me as gay.
Possible bisexual man. Only because we see the church sequence. Oh, yeah. A lot of hot ass at church. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I need to get back to church.
That was my argument too. Plus, we had the scenes with this woman, this house. I
understand that, but
you never know.
Bisexual man.
I like that you're throwing that.
And he's fine because this jacket is.
Oh, as soon as I saw the jacket, I'm looking at both of you, and I was like, "Oh, I'm done." Roland's gay.
It's popping, son. That jacket's popping.
Some smooth sheep's wool collar.
Oh yeah. The lights hit that just
Lanolin?
reflected.
The hair is good and long, glistening. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he's got a nice swoosh
Oh yeah.
to the side.
My personal number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's my personal number.
Yeah.
You might not need it now, but there could be a time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh great, we're done.
Booty call.
I still say no.
Yeah. Well, by after
I
the
mean,
scene,
I may have mentioned a mustache to stubble make-out sequence. That didn't happen.
Yes.
But
it was getting heated there for a second though.
I'm still calling no. I think he's just
Friendly guy that just tries to help him out in a moment of need, and he's just like, man, you're going through a really shitty situation.
I honestly think, it's after, because it's the 90s when they go back and they meet, he's still with old girl. Mm-hmm. They met at church and stuff like that. I'm thinking after they kill James or whatever like that it wrecks both of them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
That him and Amelia go their own path now, and I bet, you saw how distraught he was after it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wes
you
just
fucked my
breaks.
life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh, yeah.
saying? So I think that's why he's got a skeleton, a big one in the closet. Yeah.
And I mean, I think this is the first person Wes has ever killed. And I mean, I think that's part of what breaks him.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
would
we don't have
say.
to go
Well,
into that right now.
Even if it's not the first person he killed, I mean, they were both in military, army, whatever like
Wes
that.
wasn't in the military.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah.
Motor pool.
Motor pool.
Okay.
He wasn't on the battlefield. He was a mechanic.
Either way it goes, there's a difference in, you killed somebody in line of duty or your job. There's a leap of murder.
In the first degree.
Well, it's a bad kill. It's a possible. Well, it is the lead.
Yeah.
That you needed. You know what I'm saying?
It was your connecting piece.
To hell with you for pushing me to this point. You know what I mean? That's tough.
That was tough. Real tough. You get to see Amelia get in the mix a lot. We talk about her confronting the one-eyed man, which we now have heard the name June or Watts. You also get to see her get to see the neighbor, Jake's favorite
Halloween lady.
Of course, Halloween, and of course she produces a picture book with a very classic picture, not classic, but a very telltale picture that was from the preview, where it shows the two kids, trick-or-treating. They took a picture, and you see two adults or people who seem to be adults in ghost outfits covering their identity of who they are.
Except you can see their hands, and one black and one white.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And so we are to believe this is
June Watts,
or Mr. June Watts, whatever like that. And
Isabella,
is that the name? I think that's correct.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, are we led to believe that this is Isabella,
Yes,
or do we think
Isabella.
it could potentially be somebody else?
This would be Mr. Hoyt's daughter, Isabella.
Yeah.
To me, that's what I think that's what it's supposed to represent. Why else would you see a set of black hands and white hands? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I agree with you, but I mean, do we think it's a red herring and it just really isn't her underneath, and they want us to think it is? Or
no,
it's just
I think we're too far in for it to
Okay.
be a red herring.
I'm with you.
All right, so we were talking about a little bit this before the podcast started, or about that, and
I wanted this picture to pay off more, but it didn't. But I think it was just to show
yeah,
black hands and white hands.
yeah,
That's it.
And when we get into a little more the theory stuff or what we think going forward, I have questions about this.
Correct.
So
I mean, I think it was just kind of help paint the picture of Harris was guilty and everything of hiding evidence, and these people pop up more than just once in the report that we didn't get.
Well, the Hoist's maid or whoever that was, she basically spelled out who June was, who Isabella was, why the house suddenly became a fortress and don't go to certain areas. This is all the telltales of they brought the kid there.
And
You're
we're
not allowed to
hiding
see anything. Only Mr. June's allowed down there when it dealt with Isabella or the other kid. This is what it is. And they brought this kid home so they could save Isabella's life because she was destroyed from losing her own child and husband in a car accident in 1977. That's basically, I mean, that's what this maid or cook, whatever she was, basically spelled out for you in no simple terms.
right, but like I said, when we get to theory craft here shortly, I got some questions.
All right. I'm excited.
Sounds good. All right. So there's a scene where they go back to the motel and they see where Dan was involved in a scuffle. This could be the same scuffle he was involved in, was dealing with Tom, but he's missing. key thing you see in the scene, of course, is there's a wallet on TV, meaning he's a goner. I thought it was great that they had the scene outside, and he's like, he's in the wind. We fucking lost him to set our soul on. But the best part of the whole scene is when you see Hays turn and look at the quarry lake behind it.
Yep.
And I'm just like, okay, genius.
I think we know where Dan went, guys. Mystery solved.
Yeah.
I thought that was freaking awesome. Totally awesome. The next person I want to talk about is Eliza. Now, we had a couple emails come in, and there was a few things on social media, but everybody's starting to think Eliza has an alternative motive. Now, this episode shows that she created this production to try to fill in her gaps of the story.
She's looking for answers
as well. But the theory coming from some of our fans is that Eliza is somehow related to Julie. Even much so, it could be Julie's daughter.
Well, that's easily could be Julie's daughter at this point. I mean, years later.
I agree. Okay, well, let's do the math on this.
Do the math a little bit, yeah.
All right, so Julie is taken. We said she's 6 to 8 years old. That's 1980. Okay?
2015.
So by 2015, okay.
So, I mean, she
35 years later.
35. No way.
She would have had this kid at like 15?
Older.
All right, how old do you think Eliza is?
She's
26, 27?
Pushing 30, I think.
I would say
I'm going to say
30s.
26, 27 years old.
Well, how
so that
old
means if she's, let's just say 25, that's an easy number. That means that she would have to have been born in 90. Correct?
Yeah, there's no way.
So that's 10 years after, but if Eliza's 16, 17, that means she could have had her when she was 17, 18 years old. So actually it is possibly, that's if she's 25. If she's older, that means that she would have had the child even younger.
But also, how is this
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. But if this is her daughter, Julie's daughter, how is she so well off? Like, I mean,
adopted children have a chance. Foster kids have chances. Who says, maybe there's a little Hoyt money in her.
Maybe her name's Eliza Hoyt.
Away from the Hoyts. Like, I mean, Julie ran away from the Hoyts.
Maybe she ran away with a lot of cheddar. I don't know.
No idea.
Like, yeah,
no,
I just don't see it.
It was a theory that was presented to us, and so I'm just trying to do, if there's any way to put math on it.
Yeah.
If we are saying that Eliza is anywhere between 25 and 30 years old, that means that Julie would have had to have had her between the ages of 13 to 18 years old.
And we know she didn't have her.
That's reality.
She was like 15 during this Walgreens incident, right?
No, she's older than that.
She's older than that.
During the Walgreens incident?
It's 10 years later.
Okay. So,
I think the girl is at least 8 years old. 8 or 9 years old.
Actually, you're right. It's 90.
Yeah.
It's 90 when the Walgreens stuff comes up.
Right, but so she's 8 years old, that means she's been 18.
The thing didn't happen.
Well, yeah, if she was 8, then she would be 18.
Right.
She looks closer to 18 in the photo.
Yes, she does.
I mean, she really does, but like, are we saying she
I
had
have a
kid
5-year-old.
before that?
She looks way older than a 5-year-old. So I'm going to guess she's at least 8. I'm going to say that makes her 18 at 90. There you go.
It's ridiculous. I'm sure they've told us the kids' ages in this show.
I know.
I cannot remember.
Yeah. I want to say it was 12 and 8. We've had this debate before.
Yeah, I know we have. But
anyway, is it possible? Yes. Do I think so? Not really.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards no on this.
I think it would make a great twist and everything, but I'm definitely going towards no.
There's plenty of twists. That's one I just don't see the necessity. I don't know, but it would be nice to have a good alternative motivation for what she's trying to do.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean, you never know.
Because we still don't really know the real motive that she has for doing this.
No, I mean, because she's sleeping with the son, and she's doing this story. She went after Roland first, and he said no. So, I mean, are we to say that she just happened to fall in love with the son, or is this part of her angle to get into the house to be able to do this? There's a lot of things we just don't know what her motivations completely are.
But it also makes perfect sense in 2015 to cover a true crime show.
Correct.
That destroyed a town, that has all these bodies attached to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes perfect sense in 2015 to do this.
Do we know where she's from?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that I know of.
And her last real part is she gets really upset that Hays gets up and bounces after she divulges Watts and then shows the computer screen of season 1.
Oh yeah,
the connection. And, of course, she's talking about the spiral and so on. Now,
well, and she does drop that she thinks that
the dolls are used as markers.
Correct.
To decide girls to pull into child sex rings.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, this will lead back to my theory craft later.
Okay.
All right.
But I mean, she does think that the daughter was sold either by just the mother or a little combination with
the
Dan.
father.
Yeah, she put some theories out there. She believes that it's Dan. Dan's the cousin. Dan and Lucy decided to sell the kids, pay them like that. There's a lot of possibility there. Like Dan said, people who, what I know, people don't want you to know.
Yeah.
Looking after me. How do you think Lucy survived? How do you think he was getting paid?
Now I'm thinking.
So they make that connection.
I'm thinking that's 100% what happened.
I agree 100%. I'm 100% on that. I think that, like I said, each character of this episode also brought some more questions, but also confirmed some things for us moving forward. Now, one of our listeners, we're talking about the crooked spiral and this like that. One of our listeners, which name escapes me, but he sent me an email, and or maybe I'm gonna look it up. Anyway, they sent me a picture of the drifter kid,
Nicholas.
Yes, maybe it's Nicholas.
Yeah, it's Nicholas out of Sweden, which I would have never.
Yeah, and it's a picture of the drifter, and he said y'all need to look at the necklace he's wearing, and so the necklace was of a spiral. An outweighted spiral.
Yeah, it was like a blue spiral too, wasn't it?
Right, and so on. And so I researched the image the best I could, this, that, or so on. The difference is the spiral is larger and gets smaller as it goes. Most of your crooked spiral or your spirals is the same width line through the entire thing. So this one's a little different. This kind of leaned more towards like a gypsy symbol or something. However, it is showing something that he talks about, like you're talking about Bohemian, we're talking about kids were picked up, pedophile ring, going back to some of the stuff you were talking about. It's crazy that he's wearing a symbol of something, and Eliza confirms the spiral stuff in this episode. So I think it does show a little correlation and connection.
Either way, good looking out. I mean,
yeah, it was a great catch.
Oh yeah,
because I didn't catch it at first either, so I thought that was solid. All right, he cuts away, and then we cut back to where you see a scene of Hays basically with a box of all his crap, like he's walking out of his office, and a female police officer comes up and gives him the phone records from '88 in Las Vegas. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so evidently whatever's happened for him to quit or is done, we didn't see that. We just see him packing his shit and getting out. Are we make that revelation?
I don't think so, because I think what this is this is post Tom, and they know they're going to put it on.
Yeah, I think
Tom.
They're cleaning up the office.
So he's just cleaning up
his shit,
their stuff.
Well, yeah, just the war room and everything.
Yeah,
like just getting it all.
Yeah, pulling it all together and stuff like that.
Okay, all right. Well, when I saw the box, when you think that stereotypical, somebody like, okay, you're canned, or get a box, get your stuff.
Yeah, no, it looked like they were leaving that initial war room and everything, and she was catching them on the way out.
I agree,
but we find out she's called Hoyt 8 times,
and it was the security office private line for Harrison.
James, and that he got a flight the day before.
Right, stayed in town 2 days and came right back.
And came back after the day she died.
Correct.
So, I mean,
and then they spell it out for you. Okay?
This pretty much sums up what happened to Lucy.
Yeah,
gave her a hot shot, as Hays tells him.
Pretty open and shut.
And Dan O'Brien is missing now. We're all pretty certain what happened to him too.
Correct.
So,
and even later in the episode, they make the correlation of how did Harris get involved? They go back to the car accident of '77 when she lost her husband and child. He could have been the state trooper that found the scene.
He was highway patrol. Yep.
He was the highway patrolman that took care of it because she got into a car and ran into a guardrail, and maybe he took care of it to hide it, so that the daughter didn't get in trouble for it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So one of those two situations are both obviously leading to how he's a trustworthy in the pocket, whatever you want to say.
No, that's the thing is he's first on the scene for her accident. Hey, we need to keep this quiet.
It's hush hush.
Yeah.
He plays ball.
Here's an extra
he's
grand.
Trustworthy
or
guy.
something.
Yeah.
Like maybe
Makes
not
sense.
necessarily trustworthy, just easily on the take and everything. Bada bing.
Whatever. Yeah. Follows rules.
So as the episode progresses, we even get more of the like you see Amelia gets blown off as he's working on these records. She decides to go to the bar with her kids in the back of the car and confirms from the boss there that she was never seen with a black and white couple, but that Dan, her slimy cousin, was here with a one-eyed black man.
He was seen with who we presume is June.
We presume is Mr. June.
Or Watts.
Yeah. And so that right there, again, just going back to Eliza's theory of the kids were sold, this was a prearrangement, and so on. And then it's even further solidified later on when they talk to the God, did they say her name?
She's either a cook or a maid or something. I don't remember him ever saying her name.
Right, and to which Mr. June lives in the basement level.
Mm-hmm. This is where the pink room is.
This is where the pink room is. And this is where Isabel goes, and they're the only ones that were really allowed down there. He's a trustworthy man for Mr. Hoyt, always been that way. And
at a certain point, they were no longer allowed to move freely among the house.
Right. You can only go to the foyer or the kitchen.
Right.
And this was, I believe, right around 77 after the car crash and everything, so probably 78. I mean, I think that's important.
Well, she wouldn't be allowed to go down there anymore, probably because that's when they had Julie down there.
Well, exactly.
So that would be after 80. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going all the way that
She
far.
said, I'll stay there a few more years until they started changing the rules up. So if the accident happened then...
She talked about, even after the accident, that she was getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
They still were around enough to know what was going on with the daughter.
It probably is right there around 80, 81, after we presume.
Well, we know it's 80, it looks like.
Right. Are we to conclude and say a theory that here is that they got the child, Julie, as a way of hoping to improve Isabella's situation based on what this woman's telling us?
Yes. Well, I mean, not off of what necessarily she's telling us, but how we're piecing it together.
Well, she's the only person that's told us that Isabella was falling apart and getting worse, and then suddenly the rules changed at the house, and and that's when we believe that Julie's there. Is that the main motivation?
We'll get to it when we get to theory stuff, because like I said, I got all these questions about this stuff, and y'all can try to fill gaps in for me.
Okay, all right,
or answer them.
But I mean, also like a big shout out to the score people, because like when Amelia was talking to the owner at the Sawhorse, yeah, and then she sees her car without the kids again, and that music
freak out, yeah.
I was terrified again. I was like, oh, the kids just got kidnapped. This is where we lost Rebecca.
Yeah,
I was totally waiting to see the kids outside talking to somebody.
I was too. But I did have the second thought of them being asleep. It was the middle of the night.
Yeah, I mean, like that was like a back thing. Like that's what you're kind of hoping for.
We were all kind of hoping there was something
just
a little more mischievous.
Well played.
Yeah.
Well played.
Because like we had the 1 or 2 checks before and everything. I mean, I thought it was just great attention to detail.
There shortly after we get the tailing. The cool aerial shot of Roland and Hays tailing Harris.
No headlights.
Cool, and then that music. When they turn the lights on, they turn it like that music coming on. Wow! I got it in my notes like in bold letters, like it was amazing.
And I love, and hate the fact that they had to, they put in the
high screech.
Are you resisting?
Yeah, exactly.
Are
you failing to comply?
Pulls his gun out. Were you reaching for this? No, man.
No, it started with, you failing to comply?
You failing to comply.
Yeah. You failing to comply? You step out of the car. But
you look a little angry. We can talk about this back at my office.
You look dark. He said you look dark.
Oh, yeah, dark look in your eyes.
Were you reaching for this? No. He goes, I'm perfectly meeting in the office. Mine or yours?
I mean, they found a way to put like a little weird dark comedy into this. We were cracking up.
It was cold, man.
Let go, you motherfucker.
Let me tell you, the first sign your ass is in trouble is when the officer pulls you over and he's got black gloves on.
Oh, yeah.
Can I say, though, costume designers.
Oh.
These dudes look badass with their gloves on.
Oh, yeah.
Sleeves rolled up.
Just a little bit.
Just a quarter of the way.
Black leather gloves.
Oh.
Felt like I was watching the old Clint Eastwood movies. Or the cop days.
Cobra.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Cabretti.
He works at Zombie Squad. Yeah.
I mean, this very easily could have ended up corny, and like all of us are like, "What the hell are they doing?"
Even the visual of them pulling up to the barn, just using the headlights of the car, was awesome. I mean,
glorious. The way the music and the cicadas, were like the background sound. It was just like,
which also for people who aren't in the South, cicadas are pretty much the worst thing in the world.
Oh yeah, man.
Like they
are the white noise of the South.
Yeah, they will dominate.
Just find a radio station that isn't working.
Yeah.
That cicada's 24/7.
So how about this blackjack he beats the crap out of him with? I felt the pain.
The face shots, we all are aware that would hurt. But he's ribbing him with it.
Yes.
Slapping his left side and his right side with it. That would hurt so bad.
Oh, man, I really thought he punctured Harris's ribs and everything. Which is a great acting job.
And he's like, oh my God, I don't feel good.
The wheezing.
Yeah.
The wheezing parts where I was like, that's selling it.
No, I was like, there's definitely some internal bleeding. Like, this is where we're going.
How disappointed y'all were that he didn't spill anything of any probative value?
I was happy. I was like, this is a fantastic job of sticking to your story.
I think the most, damning evidence, though, is when he says, why do y'all give a shit about those
these aren't
pieces
people.
of trash?
Yeah.
You shouldn't worry about them. That's when you know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that these are just garbage people. Why do you care?
But I mean, it's like the number one rule of lying is to just stick with the lie.
My thing is, this dude did take a lot of damage.
Oh, yeah.
And didn't say nothing.
Facial expression, like he didn't start to laugh or anything. He was just
he used all the stuff like, I'm dying. I have kids. Am I getting out of here? You know, all the classic lines.
I need proof I need assurance I'll be walking out of here. What do you say? I'll be walking out of here. He goes, you'll be alive at least, you know.
I mean, Wes and he had that scowl the entire episode.
Oh, man.
Fantastic job.
So we figure out this might be what West is actually mad about.
Yeah, I mean,
why he's mad.
Yeah, I mean, like,
possible. This is
by the time they're burying him, it looks like West is a broken man.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, he realized
I ain't gonna say it. I just want you to know I'm thinking it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, he realized he got duped into it, and then this wasn't supposed to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's like I said. I think this is part why he never got married. You know, started drinking too much the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Well, they made a point to show him drinking a ton leading into this scene, you know, and everything.
But they're both having to swallow this pill. Mm-hmm. He's about to have to pin this on his friend Tom,
and
just have to eat it. This shit pile. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
So I can see why he's upset, and then this only just dramatically makes it worse. You know, knowing that you're right. Knowing that Tom's not the guy. And this guy has proved it. That your partner has found all the evidence and proved it. Mm-hmm. No, this is the shit right here. And then you kill him. You can't even clear Tom's name now.
We're fucked.
Yeah. You know, that's like...
And, like, not that you could do it legally, because they already knew that as soon as they tried to run it up the flagpole, it was just going to die. And that's how we ended up in this situation. It was too neat a package. But now we definitely can't present this evidence because you got to find him.
Yeah.
And where's he going to be? Oh, the hole you placed him in.
Yeah, really. You ain't finding him either.
Yeah, no.
You ain't. So it cuts away. So you get the scene of Old Man Hays, and he's confronting Roland about, hey, did you get that name, Watts? Don't forget that name. I'll forget the name. And then he goes out to the window and sees, hey, I ain't crazy. Look at out there. And they see the black four-door sedan. And so then they derive this, you know, the next scene you see him come out with a bat. He's got the gun on his back, behind his back, and he walks out slow. You looking for me? You looking for me? And his old ass, by the way. I thought it was awesome. And the whole time this was a beautiful setup just so the other guy could get behind him and, you know, or Roland get behind him and take a picture of the license plate. Not real sure why you had to be literally right behind the car to take the picture, but
no, he was hiding so the guy in the car couldn't see him.
Right. I love how he gets up real slow. Like, I got it.
Like he's rolling in the gutter. Yeah.
That's classic.
But
the next scene, though.
Well, are we led to believe last week that these people really weren't there? Or that Wes just didn't want to admit that they were still being followed?
I'm happy you mentioned that.
I think it's his son.
That's a different car.
Wes
That's a
saw
different
it
car, though.
But Wes, they made a point to him, tell his son, somebody needs to watch him at night.
True.
Somebody needs to stay with him.
I mean, he really did.
Right. So,
and then we know, like you said, we already saw a sequence where he looked out the window and didn't see anything, apparently. And now he looks out there, you know, and he follows them or whatever like that. But West has the photograph.
Yeah, he does. That's what I'm saying. Like, he can take that picture and be like, okay, we got you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get a new car.
But I mean, like, this is a different car than what his son was driving.
Yeah,
Like,
his
that's
son
the
was
only
driving a gray Dodge. I mean,
I understand.
It could very
But the windows are 100% blacked out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, no other car can drive around with that other than an unmarked cop car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm betting on it being
The son.
the son.
It does have Arkansas tags. So,
Yep.
I mean, it definitely makes sense. But we see later on as the Hoyts are driving up, as the Hoyts see by the end of the episode, they have this MO. They know where this house is.
it could also be somebody who works for Eliza hoping that this guy is going to go somewhere to give a clue. You could also go from that point of view. You know, that you're following him. It could be that.
Yeah.
It could be Hoyt's people, but I don't think so based on what we've seen later. So there's still some possibilities, not 100%. I'm with you. I do believe it's something to do with his son. I think somebody watching him, whatever.
I'm on the other side of it.
Could be Julie.
Ooh.
I mean, it can.
Pass.
Just say it can.
This leaves a lot of options open.
Yeah.
All right. Something I thought immediately following that, he's on the street and he turned around and it's pitch black. And you have this really cool shot of him just like sitting on a road with nothing around
What
him.
looks like a single headlights beam,
Right.
lighting the way.
And this goes back to the transitions we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, we got a nice, cool rear view mirror transition.
Yes.
God, that
Now-
was so good.
That was awesome.
Now
by
we
the way.
get the, fire barrel.
A little flame
transition.
pops up. He walks over to the fence and he sees his younger self burning his clothes after the murder.
But man, when the younger self looks back to the fence and then
And it's
just
empty.
It's
That's the
things
second,
like that.
That's the
that
second or
just
third time too.
gives me chills every single time
And
someone's
that's
able
like-
to pull it off.
That was almost a perfect horror movie look back too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's exactly when you look back and you think you see something,
Oh yeah, I know something's over there.
and it's just like, oh, well, it's Michael Myers. He's just standing there.
Yeah.
Disregard this knife.
Yeah.
Yeah, no joke. So Amelia walks out. What have you done? What is this? Can't tell you. We'll
I
talk.
can't
in the
talk
morning.
about
Yeah.
this right now.
Yeah. So the
Whatever.
next morning, you know what I noticed more than anything? The next scene, classic white Reeboks, baby, of the '90s. Oh God, I don't know how many of my buddies had these when I was graduating high school.
Hang on, your buddies had these, or your buddies' dads had these?
Well, this is '90s, but those are those white Reeboks they did for like 20 years in a row. The classic old
Pretty
man
sure they
white shoes.
still do them.
Yeah, I mean, like he
These
was
are
rocking them.
these are the New Balances before New Balances.
Yes.
This is dad bod, epitomized.
Oh yeah, high jeans.
They need to have a little bit of green on them from grass, from push mowing. You know what I mean?
No doubt. No doubt.
Can't wait to turn
You had-
these bad boys green.
You have two pairs,
You got your
One
church
for
pair
mowing.
and your grass shirt.
One for 99% of your time, one for pick up basketball and mowing the grass.
And then you got the third pair for grilling.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, it just for some reason it just stuck out to me. I was like, see,
One
that's-
reason it stuck out is because of their icy white. You can't help but to look at those bad boys.
So he's he's not really talking much, and suddenly the phone rings.
How about a classic cordless phone
Oh
ring?
yeah, you got to pull the antenna out.
And I love it had the memo
Yes,
slot on the back of the
Yep.
thing where you used to be able to write important numbers in there.
Well, that's
So
your
where do
emergency
you find
contact,
this
so
stuff?
you knew who.
do you find these stuff? I mean,
I honestly don't even think Goodwill has these kind of things in it.
no,
no,
but there's a lot of grandmas with attics with this kind of crap in it.
All right, everybody,
Yeah.
go home. See if your grandma's got this up in the attic.
dude,
We
you
need.
put this on here and let Hollywood buy it from you or rent it. Anytime you need it for a
Yeah.
scene, I got it.
Even the bottom of it was like yellowed.
yes, it's classic, man.
Yeah,
I mean, this
cigarette
was a useful-
cigarette voice just pouring
Oh,
into it all the
God.
time.
The voice of the line, Edmund Hoyt,
Yep.
the man
First
himself.
time we've heard his voice or anything.
First time he's ever been a character in the show.
Do we think he's lived up to everything that we thought he was going to be?
Well, it's to be determined.
Okay.
To be determined.
I'm waiting to see a cowboy hat, with a tassel bow tie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, big beard, whatever. All right, so the key thing about what he says is, I'm very interested in the events of last night dealing with Mr. Harrison James.
Yeah.
And so on, like,
You got a really nice family.
yeah.
How
You're a
lucky
writer,
you are.
a little artist. Like, he gave very vivid descriptions of each one of them.
Well, and not even just that. It was just like, would you like me to come inside? Just right off the bat, like, oh, you're already at my house.
Yeah. Woof.
But also, how lucky you are to have a family. Mm-hmm. That's possibly a play on some of the things that have gone on.
Yeah, well, I mean, as we find out when they were talking to the older lady and everything.
Yep.
Anytime he thought he was having a good family life or life outside of business, it got wrecked.
Yep.
Literally and figuratively.
No doubt. And of course, he goes out there. And you know what stunned me, though, was this scene is that when he goes and tells Amelia, I need you to trust me, I'm totally expecting him to say, grab the 38, get the kids out of here, out through the back door, like that. And he doesn't.
All of us were just like looking like, you're not telling her to run or anything?
Yeah, really. Get a shotgun, get in the bathroom if you don't see, whatever. But
if I get in this car and it drives away, run.
Yeah, really.
Never come back to this house.
Go find Roland. Exactly.
Hit number 3 on the back of the phone for emergency contact. Let's get the bad boy rolling.
Yes.
Classic. But
and do we think do we think Hoyt has contacted Wes first, or do we think that Hays is the first person? Like, could Hoyt or could Wes be in this car?
Here's the deal: Hays is the only one that has something to lose.
Well, I don't.
I mean, or does he? Well, I guess he has the girl.
He could still have the girl. Like, we don't know.
It's 90, so I mean, he has the girl.
Yeah, but the threat's much deeper threat
when you have children,
when you got children and a wife.
I'm going to say Hays is the first one you talk to.
And I'm okay with that. Like, I was
not only that.
No, he says it later on. He says the episode ago. Hoyt talked to me, you know that? Remember, Roland didn't know.
Okay.
Roland had no clue.
That's true.
Hoyt called me.
Explain why Roland is the only one that quits and everything.
Yeah. Remember he told him, he said he knew what we did to James and,
you're right.
I had to make a personal choice.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is definitely going to be the reason why.
We're pretty sure this is the reason why he's no longer on the force. He quits outright. And then why Roland was upset because he's like, I watched you quit. You just gave up. Da-da-da-da-da. And that's basically kind of the episode, and it goes right into previews. But before we do anything else, I want to stop and say, look, this has been one of the best podcasts we've ever had. By far, some of the best record numbers we've ever had. Some of the best engagement. I can't tell you how fun it's been, how it's been great talking with the fans, social media, and the whole 9 yards. But the reality of it is this is episode 7's coverage, and then episode 8 is basically going to be the culmination. So the theories end. It's basically just ooh and ah about how well they're going to finish this up in the whole 9 yards. So the reality of it here is this. What we have on the plate moving forward is in late March, we're going to pick up Into the Badlands for its final 8 episodes. So if you're one of those people, please join us. And of course, one of our flagships, one of our best things ever is Game of Thrones. Now, I know there's a lot of Game of Thrones podcasts out there, but we do a pretty darn good one as well. And so if you're enjoying us on this HBO show, I hope you enjoy us for that as well. But Jake and I and Cass were talking about it, like we have some gaps in our schedule, and we want to see if we can get some fan support or suggestions on maybe some shows or movies or even some Netflix originals, whatever, if y'all want us to cover and maybe talk about, pod about, something like that. And so we're looking for y'all to email us, talk to us on the social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, that's BleedTV Podcast. Of course, our email is bleedtvpodcast@gmail.com. And so send us a quick message. You don't even you don't have to say hi, this, that, or so on. Just give us the name of a show, or whatever. And we're just going to kind of tab it together and see if something works out.
Basically, if you enjoy what we do here for this show, we'd like to
continue to let you enjoy what we do.
Like, keeping your happy
enjoyment on another show, since we're about to lose this one. But we don't want to lose the momentum and all the listeners that we've gained from this podcast. So
it's been awesome.
Please reach out. If there's a show, doesn't matter what it is, let us know. We'll tally it all up, where we see the most,
we'll do it,
recommendations for it, we'll cover it. But it's just quick, because we only got one more episode of this.
Yeah, so we're looking for something to dive our teeth into. I know we're going to do some movies coming up, so even if there's some specific movies you want us to cover, or this, especially Netflix stuff, man. Netflix is on a roll. But anything, just let us know. We look forward to it. But let's get into the theories,
Jake,
man.
You've been talking about this theories.
I'm kind of licking my chops here. I'm ready to call it bullshit.
No, it's not even necessarily a theory. It's just questions I have. Okay?
Well, dazzle us, sir.
All right, because what I'm saying is mainly that through the podcast y'all have said, oh, that's how it's going. Yeah. This is what happened and stuff like that. But here's my question. Eliza comes out with, sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Crooked Spiral stuff. We see all that. All the cover-ups and all these things. Okay.
People of power.
But y'all are already on the train of they chose Julie because Lucy sold her or whatever like that to take care of Isabella, right? Mm-hmm. To replace the daughter she lost
in the car crash with her husband.
In the car crash and stuff like that. Okay. Why did they give her these dolls that are marked for sex trafficking if they were just getting her to help with the daughter?
My theory on that is that the one-eyed man, June, the girl was given a doll at Halloween. Mm-hmm. June and them are in these ghost outfits, sees this, buys 10 more of them because he knows the daughter likes them, or Julie likes them. And so he's giving to her.
Just completely unbeknownst.
Just because he saw that she enjoyed him or whatever like that or so on, and that she decides to put him there as a way of finding her brother when he's dead. That's my thought on that 100%. I think it
could just be completely coincidental.
Here's the thing. They go to the lady that makes the dolls. Mm-hmm. She ain't sold them except for one guy who buys 10 of them, right?
Correct.
It's June, right? Or Watts.
Yeah.
Who gave her the doll then?
She got them when they were at Halloween. Because that's what they said.
I understand that. But they never found a house that gave them to her.
Correct. But he gave them to her then.
But didn't other kids receive these dolls? Or was it just...
No, I think it was just Julie.
Okay.
But my thing is, if they're markers...
Didn't both kids get the dolls?
If they're markers
I don't think so.
For somebody to pick that person up, because they said Watts is a collector or whatever, or what did Eliza call him? He was a point man or whatever like that. That's why he has the dolls.
True.
To point Julie, right? All I'm saying is...
And there's something...
Why give her the doll for sex trafficking?
I don't think it has anything to do with sex trafficking. I think it's just a cool connection as a red herring. Mainly because when June confronts Amelia later, he acts like he cared and loved for her, but you don't know where she is now. You don't know what's going on.
That could still be pedophilia.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about. That's the mystery to me is like the dolls are tied to sex trafficking. He gets the dolls, give them to him. Is he just ignorant of that? I don't know.
Very well could, because these are completely different dolls.
Correct. They're different dolls.
Right.
They look nothing alike.
They're all these like straw dolls.
They're very homemade. Yes.
I mean, homemade, and
I think they're pretty damn close.
Yeah, I think they're pretty close.
Anyway, whatever. I'm just saying, at some point, Julie runs.
Yes.
Or leaves, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Either on her own fruition. I mean, because she's sitting there when she makes the call, like the guy pretending to be my dad. You know, stuff like that. All I'm saying is, like, we're maybe too tied to the fact that they picked up Julie and bought Julie from Lucy and Dan for the daughter.
And where's season 2 take place?
I don't remember.
California.
Yeah, it was California.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
because it was the California highway system.
The only reason I was misled by that was because she says in Louisiana, Nebraska,
it was another place,
and Arkansas. Yeah. Why are we bringing up Nebraska?
I don't know.
It could be a lead-in for another season.
All I'm saying is that the Eliza stuff could be the red herring.
True.
But the dolls tie things together.
They do and they don't. I see what you're saying.
I mean, who's to say Hoyt's daughter? What's her stupid name?
Isabella
doesn't just continue to lose her mind.
I mean, there's a good chance.
And then they end up
the only reason
trying to sell Julie into trafficking or something like that.
The only reason I think it could still be trafficking is the look of horror on Tom's face when he walks into the pink room, and then something we see in the trailer.
See, I think the pink room could surprise all of us and not be pornographic, but photos of her smiling happy in family pictures.
Yeah, growing up.
I'm talking about family photos with this with Isabella
and everything,
and possibly with
Mr.
Watts.
June,
Yeah.
Watts.
Or with the Hoyt family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean that could be just as sadistic as seeing.
You would be just as twisted seeing her happy, smiling face, you know?
Julie ends up in the Runaways, Bohemian, whatever this that are so on, and starts calling herself Mary July, right?
Yeah, correct.
I think it's purely a runaway. I think the only connections of the sex trafficking or this that are so on are just coincidental based on season 1 and similar but not perfectly identical situations that can be based on what Eliza has said.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
It's all very circumstantial.
To me, like, she's the only person that talks about being the pink room princess and this, that, or so on. There's no other drifter saying, I've been in the pink room before. There's no other person saying that they've been to the Hoyt mansion or been this, that, or so on. That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, I think you're right. It's going to be nothing but pictures of Julie in there. And when Tom sees it, that's why he knows.
But we still have the gardener from the last episode and saying, if you want the real story,
that's what happens to girls around here.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but that could be whoever owns that company is using that orphanages around it, and that's why she's there. That's why Julie's going around, because wherever she goes, kids are being taken advantage of. And yes, that could be a subplot of everything going on, but I don't think Julie herself, the situation of her being taken and then being in the pink room, has anything to do with trafficking.
Okay.
I just think what happens to her after, for whatever reason she leaves, is associated with sex trafficking. And then when they go to that orphanage, we get little hints of it, like what was going on. I purely believe that's what's going on.
Like I said, I don't know.
Okay.
All I'm saying is everything doesn't add up just yet.
No, it's not tied up in a bow yet.
And she must never leave the pink room. Does she finally run away because she keeps asking what the hell happened to my brother and they won't tell her?
I think so.
You know,
well, obviously Mr. June doesn't know.
Judging by the last thing we heard, she said, we left him in there resting. You know, where's my brother?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, did they leave her in the pink room forever? Never let her come out?
Yeah.
I mean, I think pretty close. I don't think she ever got fresh air or anything.
It had to be a long time for her to say, that guy pretending to be my father. I mean, you're talking about what, Stockholm or like that? I mean, like,
yeah, I mean that could probably just take.
But we know that that's possible that he isn't her father.
True, but how do you convince a child that doesn't know?
I don't know.
I mean, like, think about it. If she's 8 years old, I mean, like, you know, I have a son, and I don't know how you can look at him and it would take a good minute to try to convince the person you've been with your whole life is not your dad. And then who is the person you're convincing is not your dad? That's the next thing. I mean, we have a black guy named Mr. June, and we have Isabel, which is in our working theory. Who is the person that they are assuming is her dad? Or are we to say that the guy who died in the car accident, it was really your father?
Could have been.
You know what I'm saying? In which that's another theory of that maybe Isabella's husband, before he died, had an affair with Lucy, and they knew this, and that's the reason they were stalking her, and we want to buy her and give her money so she'll go away.
Because that Hoyt bag was 76.
The Hoyt bag was 76.
And this car accident was in 77.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of possibilities there.
Yeah. I like I said, remember I talked about this episode or two ago where it's like, I'm not sure Lucy sold the child nefariously. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Obviously, she wanted out. And Dan was, you know, a scumbag to help her do this and stuff like that.
There's a payoff for it.
You know,
give it to her real father anyway.
She'll live a better
life for that child, and you're getting better money out of the situation.
Yeah, no, and I don't disagree.
And the only reason she's wrecked and everything else is because Will wasn't supposed to die.
I'm just saying though, these people, the Hoyt is right here in town.
Yeah,
like you're selling this kid to somebody right in town. Like, what's your plan? What are you going to do with these kids?
Yeah.
Keep them locked up in the pink room. I don't know.
Was Lucy planning to sell both of them? What was the plan for Will?
I mean, it
just
looks
that
like
Will go home
murdered.
to Tom.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we haven't found out what happened to Will.
For all you know, of Will dying, like you said, wasn't on purpose. Which I don't think he died on purpose at all.
Oh man, I'm leaning.
You know,
towards he was
even though
definitely...
we got the autopsy report for the first time this time, blunt force trauma, his neck was broken.
Yeah.
Yep. Cervical break.
I'm leading to think.
Do you fall and hit a rock like that and break your neck?
No.
But you see the rock.
Yeah,
it wasn't picked up and smacked into his neck. He had to have either been forced down on it with a push or literally grabbed and thrown down on it, or he tripped and fell and hit his head on it.
I mean, like, you even as a kid, you know, to keep your brace when you fall and stuff.
I was 100% an accident, but then when he said that it broke his neck,
that turned it for me. That was
a big turn.
I mean, you think the base of your skull, you know, where they're talking about where it broke it. I mean, it wouldn't take much where you see when he hits.
Yeah, well, plus you don't know where he came from. For all you know, he fell off that little cliff there.
Yeah.
It was a good 10-foot fall, landed perfectly.
We're going to find out, obviously.
We're going to find out. I want to believe that he died of an accident because she was a part of putting him in a comfortable place, and she just thought that he was knocked out.
Resting.
Right, and resting. So to me, that means, you know, I don't think he was maliciously killed.
What I'm saying is Julie on the run from even the Hoyts now because she found out that the brother was killed and they've been lying to her this whole time. Mm-hmm. Or is she on the run because she can give all this information away?
Right. Yeah, that's a tough cookie right there, man. You know.
But I mean, I think that's pretty much the episode. Is there anyone that we're thinking? I'm thinking Halloween Lady is safe. Like, sadly, I got to take her off of my whodunit meter. She's at a cool.
Yeah, like her only thing that comes to play now is just that picture.
I think she was just a good friend now.
The only creepy thing about it is you promised me you'll come back tomorrow.
I think she's just lonely.
That's a good setup.
It is.
To call, you know, Mr. Hoyt and be like, she'll be back tomorrow, returning my photo. But these guys are powerful enough where obviously they just pull straight up to their house and be like, come on outside, so I don't have to come inside. You know what I mean?
To me, I think it's an attention grab just because her house looks so dilapidated.
She's alone.
She goes, why don't you move to town? She goes, why? Somebody has to remember here.
Yeah.
Like, I think she's the last one of the era. She lost her best friend. She lost everything. The children are gone. Everything that she was enjoyed about life in that area is all dead. And
the town's dead. I mean, you saw she was like all about the neighborhood, putting up the Halloween decorations.
Yeah, and
everyone's
like
gone.
Shiite, you know.
Yeah, everything's boxed up.
So to me, I think she was just lonely. I think having a visitor was much appreciated.
Yeah, she's a hobbit at this point.
Yeah. So to me, she's motor's cold on her.
Yeah.
On this one. All right, I'm gonna hit a hot one. Amelia.
Totally safe to me.
I'm just gonna die on this hill. Like I've been too hot on it to just give up on it going into the last episode. It's cold. I'm not gonna lie. Probably by myself here. I think she has like a 10% that she still has something to do with this, but it's looking grim.
There was an inkling in my back of my mind that one-eyed black man, a black teacher. So could there be a relative, this, that, or so on? But when they did the book signing, and he comes in there and starts barking at her, and she has that in fear, I was like, okay, that's sunk like the Titanic. I'm saying Amelia is cold as ice.
Yep. The Nightcrawler theory has died.
Yeah. And that she decided not to write a second book was confirmed this episode. To me, this goes back to the theory of Hoyt makes a situation of everything goes away. Do you understand? And he does that. And Amelia's, you're not writing another book. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. And we're moving on into our lives in another direction. And
they both had to make a choice. And they made it together.
They made a personal choice. And so they did that. And so I think Amelia is 100% safe, even though, man, I was loving it too because she was interjecting herself in so much.
And she's just such a good detective and everything.
Yeah.
It would have been great. But, yeah, it's pretty cold. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. And so those were two people we've mentioned in the past. Can you think of anybody else that, maybe still has a semblance of it?
There's no other suspects at this point.
No.
Now, the only thing we haven't had a confirmation from on anything is that we haven't talked to the AG's attorney. He hasn't had his moment of talking to Hays. Because remember, he said when the interview's over, we're going to talk.
But no, they did talk.
They did talk. They were at a bar.
Yeah.
They talked.
Yeah, but he didn't give us anything
Yeah, he did. He
monumental.
He told us that
this was back in episode 2, man.
Her prints weren't behind the counter.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. This episode made me feel like they were going to be like we were going to get to see him again and give something more.
That was back in episode 2.
I hear you. I'm just saying. I thought we were going to get this guy again. Like he's gone. Like we hadn't seen him since.
I mean, I feel like we're going to get some of these guys again in a way.
Yeah.
Because they're just too important in the whole series. But
absolutely.
Is the last episode only an hour? I mean, I would assume it is. I don't know why they would change it up
or
anything, but
I hope not. Yeah. Because I'm going to tell you, this episode, there were so many times I thought it was over, and they went a little bit more. They went a little bit more.
Yeah,
I was like, no.
They had that fade to black with like 3 minutes left, and I was like, this is it. Nope.
No.
We still got some. But do we have any idea of what Eliza is?
Yeah, okay, Eliza. All right,
like, how does she finish up?
Like I said, possibly one of the people in the unmarked car in the street.
Maybe she really did make the connection, and it is all Crooked Spiral, and she's able to help take that down.
Not with an hour left.
Time. Yeah,
not with an hour left.
I don't know.
Do we think this is the final episode of the series?
Of True Detective period?
True Detective period.
No. It better not be, because it was so
good. You know,
good.
after last season, I would have said, this one's coming in. I was like, this is probably it. But this show is very popular.
It is. And the way that they're semi-connecting it. Like, I mean, maybe this doesn't take it down. This kind of...
Well, I like they're not connecting it at all to season 2.
Yeah. You kind of just have to scrub season 2 from existence.
There is still a large group of people who think season 2 is amazing.
There's a large group of people that do heroin, but that doesn't make it a good idea. Something that you should stand with.
Man. What hurt season 2 was that it followed season 1.
Yeah,
that to me, that was its biggest trouble.
Shit, can't nothing follow season 1.
Yeah, season 3.
Season 1 is best season of television ever made, probably.
If next Sunday goes like I think it will, this season will rival it.
Not to me.
Yeah, no.
This has been an absolutely amazing season.
Because season 1 didn't necessarily come out of nowhere, but it did so many monumental things that set up, and it's laid a lot of the groundwork.
Pretty groundbreaking, yeah.
All right. Hey, you're all entitled to your opinions. Right. Okay.
You're entitled to your own.
Some of them ain't worth wiping your ass with.
It's not necessary to talk about yours like that. All right, so I guess we'll get into the previews because the previews do have some big stuff in it and so on. So, guys, this is that opportunity where if you're not one of the people who enjoys previews, this is where you cut it off. If you are, I really appreciate you listening. As always, make sure you hit us up on social media. Let us know. Hey, remember, don't forget to tell us which shows or what you want us to maybe cover. We're going to see what we can do to cover you on that. So we're going to do a brief pause and get right into previews. All right, previews-wise, we go back to our new timeline. The college timeline. We get to see Hays walking down a sidewalk on college. He's pretty happy and upbeat. He's got his tie on. He's walking, excited about life. And we get a quick snippet of Amelia with a different hairstyle. Mm-hmm. And she is reading...
looking significantly older.
Yeah, definitely. An excerpt from another book. So... when I look at this, I'm like, okay, she's teaching again. Mm-hmm. Maybe college level.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
seems like it.
It seemed like that was. He's visiting his daughter at college and so on. Golly, man, like for them to keep showing the college timeline. Oh why? You know what I mean? Like, is this where we're going to find out where Amelia died? You know what I mean?
No, Amelia, you mean Rebecca?
Or Rebecca, or either one.
It seems like they show a photo of Amelia. She's much older. Mm-hmm. She's like grandma age.
All right. Was it you who told me that Pizzolatto dropped a piece of the script?
Yes.
Out there, and it says that like Amelia died 2012, 2013, like a few years before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think this shot we're seeing of him walking, of her being at college, is that time frame. Basically meaning like Amelia is going to be a character who dies off screen.
Yeah, so
I think she dies like a
almost natural.
Yeah, like a natural reason.
Okay,
not,
well, I'm just saying.
Not because some guy pulls up next to her and ices her. I don't think that's going to happen.
This is for the Hoyt.
Yeah, the Hoyt.
The Hoyt
headlights rolled up and
the Hoyt sent her
Rebecca
regards.
take it
The Hoyt sent the regards. Yeah.
Stab.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, I think this is we're going to find out why Rebecca's gone, whether it's a death or it's out of pure anger.
Okay.
That she no longer speaks or is around the family anymore.
Okay. All right. I'll give you that. The next thing, you do see a quick scene of Roland fighting a bunch of guys at a bar.
It's bikers, it looks
like bikers.
Do we think there's any connection back to season 1? I mean, we know that biker gang didn't really have anything to do with season 1 at all, except for giving us quite possibly the greatest 5 minutes ever.
I'll be surprised. I really have no idea why he's fighting some bikers in a bar.
Yeah.
Other than he's continuing a drinking problem.
Which is an odd thing to throw in the final episode.
Well, he is getting worse and worse with the drinking.
I mean,
maybe that's what happens. Maybe that's what makes him a single, awful guy. Is his woman leaves him, he gets into bar fights, he becomes an embarrassment.
I could easily see him, when Hays quits.
Yeah.
And, whatever they get into a fight about and stuff like that, he goes to the bar, blow off steam.
This could just be like a week later and everything.
Just,
someone says
a fight, just for being pissed off, looking for a fight.
Okay.
Then you get, man, how good is this show when you see the special effects of, you see an Ford Explorer pull in through Hoyt's gate.
Old gate.
Old, many years removed. Place looks abandoned, dilapidated. And you get a scene of them have a flashlight going down to the basement floor, and you see the door. This is the door to the pink room. So obviously we're going to get the next episode that uncovers what Hoyt was and how this was.
And we get a pretty horrific gasp coming from them as soon as they open up this door and everything. So,
I mean, I'm ready to see.
Is anybody surprised that this dungeon is not like bricked up to where you can't even find this thing?
A little bit. And the fact that what happened to where they couldn't clean out this pink room? Like, why would you leave anything horrific?
Don't know.
What you might be horrific might be it's just this pink room, which solidifies they took Julie.
Because they have heard the Princess of the Pink Room.
Okay.
Right. I mean, it could be just as simple as the color of the room.
When we saw the safe door
that
leads to the hallway to the door.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just like...
But why would you even leave that safe door open?
If you're leaving this estate, who decided not to brick up this space where you can't even find it?
Well, if old man Hoyt just suddenly died and he was the end of the line, the place could just be abandoned. You know what I mean? That's reality. I mean, you got to think about it now. Think about who the heirs of Hoyt are. The only person he has left is Isabella, and we don't know her status.
Who's to say Julie hadn't been living in this house this whole time?
True.
That's a big bridge you're leaping on there.
I agree, but it's like, who'd they leave the property to?
Yeah.
Who owns it? Or did Hoyt die when the town died?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, based on what the trees were growing up in front of those columns and so on, it's been dead and gone for a long time.
Yeah, it's not maintained. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I'm just saying,
do you think there could be a body in the pink room?
No.
Man, no clue.
Okay.
No clue.
Yeah, no point in trying to guess.
I really just don't have a clue. I'm just surprised they could even find it.
Yeah. And the last thing you see is you get to see Hays, and he's in the exact same distinctive coat he's wearing when he gets into the Cadillac.
And yells, "Just tell me what happened."
Just tell me what happened. So obviously, this is the scene, or at least I feel like, he's basically being told, you're going to go away from this, which he's going to quit the force, the whole 9 yards. But he wants the truth. What happened?
What happened to Will, I think, is what he wants to know. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's going to figure out what happened as an old man. So we know 90s jumpsuit doesn't figure it out.
Correct.
He figures out enough to where he makes the decision to cut his losses.
Nothing he can do can change anything.
He's
really, he can't.
Yeah.
Protected Roland. You know what I mean?
And his family.
The people that know about the death of, Harrison or whatever like that is like, they're not too fussed about it.
The one thing we didn't discuss about in the regular episode is that there was 2 scenes where Hays has mishaps with his mind. The girl walks up and he goes, "Hey,
Yeah.
what are you doing here? You know, I'm gonna drive you to school.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm over here, buddy." And then the whole deal of, "Hey, I'm sorry I pushed you to that," you know, just out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and so on. You know,
It's all right. Whatever. I think a lot of that's just to do with Rebecca
Yeah.
and what happened with
And
her.
just fantastic acting. Like,
yes, there's no doubt there. Absolutely. But that was the end of the previews. It was short and sweet, but they were distinctive. There's no doubt about that. But guys, I think that is going to wrap it for episode 7. Golly, only one left. That's going to suck. But anyway, again, we really appreciate you listening with us. Don't forget to email us and hit us on social media and let us know what your thoughts are. And hope you tune in for the last episode, as we'll probably be man-crushing all over it. But anyway, this is True Detective Podcast, and I'm Zach.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
And we'll see y'all next week.